What's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to be talking about the top two headlines, what past recessions tell us about the home market, mortgage rates are stabilizing, and we're going to get to the comment section. Today, we got a special guest, Ryan Butler from Coalition Properties. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus here.
And today, we got a special guest. We got Ryan Butler. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, dog. Thank you for joining, man. We really actually humbled by your presence here today and excited. I was like, yo, because when you shot me the little feedback for the podcast, man, I was like, oh, for real?
Yeah, I've been listening to y'all crazy over here, talking real estate and having fun.
So tell everybody a little bit about, your background, where you come from. Tell us about your team. Tell us everything.
Yeah, man. So I've been in the DMV area going on, 18 years now, I think. Right around 18 years. So it's coming up real fast. So I've been here for a while. I'm originally from Mississippi. That's where I lived most of my life. Excuse me. And but my dad was in the military, so we started moving around once I hit like 12, 13. We started really moving around. So went, 3 years here, 2 years there. It went from like really steady, stable, one place, and then it moved to like we just got here, it's time to go. We got here, got time to go. So but then when I started going to college or applied for college, that's what brought me to the DMV area. I'm a Georgetown Hoya.
Yes, sir.
That, you know what I'm saying? Local.
Saxon.
So really been in the city kind of like an adopted son now, going on 18 years. Yeah.
So you love the DMV, and it's a big difference from what part of Mississippi?
I'm from the Delta, man. That's a real country part of Mississippi.
Yeah.
So they call it, I call it blues country because that's why, like, B.B. King is from my hometown. He grew up. My grandfather grew up. One of his really good friends. They got pictures together. He's in like the documentary and all this stuff. So it's like blues country down there.
Yeah. That's great.
You play any music or anything?
I did.
What'd you play?
Well, like we talked a little bit earlier in that PAW, you had to play something.
Right. So, Real Estate Wire Squad, we got another Pentecostal in our mix.
Also apostolic.
Well, I'm apostolic. So apostolic is the only one true religion.
Okay.
Everything else is 2 or lower.
Okay.
So
get out of here, Dave.
I was. These are all facts. I'm just telling you. So I grew up in the PCAF, which was the Pentecostal Churches of the Apostolic Faith, and you grew up
in the PAW. And
what's PAW?
Pentecostal Assemblies of the World.
Wow.
Try to bring everybody together
from the whole world.
From the whole world.
Right. Got it. Yeah. No, we don't care about the whole world.
Okay. You just care about
just us.
Okay. And real estate. Okay.
That's not even real estate. Just Pentecostal churches. Yeah. No, it was dope though. I used to love going to the little. Not little. They were big, like the conventions. No, convocations. Right. Because you call them convocations, conventions. It's a little, you go there to get the Holy Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Again, because on Monday, you lose it. You know what I'm saying?
You lose it after the week.
After Monday, you go to school. You be like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
So being a military brat, kid, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, all of that.
Where are some of the places that you lived, and out of all that you've seen, what was your favorite spot?
So I lived in Germany for 3 years, and then I moved to another place in Germany for another 3 years. But then we lived right on the border, so my school was actually in the Netherlands. So I would cross every day from like going across the border to go to school. And then I got to visit, even after after I kind of went to college and stuff, I got to visit my parents on a couple other places they went to, like Guam. This is like a U.S. territory out west, like way out west, in like the Pacific Ocean. My favorite place, it's tough to say, man. I mean, Germany was, I was there for 6 years total. Made a lot of memories. Still got good friends from there.
Yeah.
You speak German, I assume?
Actually went to international schools, but I did learn German.
Oh, yeah?
It's really rusty right now, but yeah.
My wife speaks German.
Well, we can speak some German together.
So I know one German word. Tell me if you know this word. It's the only word I know from my travels.
It's in German?
Yeah, it's my only German word when I say it in German. It's not a bad word, so I can say it per the agreement that we have. Okay. It starts with an F, though, so I want to prepare the little kid. No, it doesn't actually. It's Schadenfreude. Is that the word?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah. Pardon my Schadenfreude. It's my favorite word ever.
Schadenfreude.
It means, correct me if I'm wrong, it means to take pleasure in the misery of others.
Oh.
Schadenfreude. It's such a German word. Like, only they would come up with like a word. Like, we don't have a word for reveling in the misery of other people, but the Germans apparently do.
That's because they put Schaden and Freude is two different words and they put it together. So like
Oh,
a
is
German
it?
word is like a bunch of like words together. Sometimes it'll just be like multiple words.
Like kindergarten.
Yeah, like kindergarten.
Kindergarten's German.
I didn't know that.
I'm smart. I know stuff.
Moving around, did that give you a love and appreciation for real estate? Did you ever think that like you were probably weren't looking at real estate through those eyes when you were younger, but as you got older, you started to kind of see how like you really have paid attention to architecture and things like that?
No.
Okay.
Man, I was supposed to be a laparoscopic surgeon.
Really?
Oh, what happened? You got into a fist fight and broke your hands?
No.
Oh.
I was just really bad.
Hey, so, he was winding it up. I was like, nah.
I was supposed to be a laparoscopic surgeon. So I'm from a small town, right? Like I got not even 2,000 people where I'm from.
Oh, wow.
Like it's really small. Yeah. And so there's one school, like side note, that it used to be super separated. It wasn't separated too far after my mom went there. My mom is not old. So like even then it was still kind of separate down there. Separate but equal, I think.
Separate and equal? Or?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a but or an and, but it's one of those two. And so
both of them are bad.
So the school I went to, the same teachers were there, taught my older cousins, taught my mom, her sisters. We all had the same teachers, like for elementary school. But one of my teacher's son is actually like a legit legend. His name is Butch Rosser. Shout out to him. And shout out to Miss Rosser from back in the day. She passed away. But Miss Rosser's son was a laparoscopic surgeon and one of the first in the world to do what he did. So he was up in like really big medicals like in New York, in Minnesota, where they have like these really like refined, renowned like medical. And so, you know, I guess she saw something in me and was like, you're going to have to do something. So you could probably be a laparoscopic surgeon. But then I got into college and started taking biology and chemistry again. And I was like, man, this wasn't like, I took this in high school. This ain't the same. This is different. I don't know if this is for me anymore. Let's try something else.
Dude, that's funny because those are actually my favorite subjects. I mean, I also flunked out too, by the way. Biology.
Hold on, he didn't say he flunked out.
Well, he flunked out of that particular. No, Ryan's smart. He's way smarter than us. He flunked out of college. Like,
speak for yourself.
No, you flunked out of college too. How far did you get into college?
Hey, my .99 GPA.
0.99 exactly.
Don't worry about me, son.
We're neither. Come on.
I was definitely on the academic probation. Do not worry. I was in the midst.
We fell off the academic probation.
But
there's another step that happens after academic probation.
It's suspension. That's what happened to me. They kicked me out.
They just asked you not to come back. You sure you want to register?
I just decided that I was like, I'm just not doing any of that would get me there.
But see, academic probation and suspension at Georgetown is a different level. That's still, you could be on suspension or probation there, and be on dean's list somewhere else.
State.
Man, it's just the thing about it for me, man, it's like university, college does not determine your intelligence level.
Yeah, for sure.
It determines sometimes how you've been trained or some natural skills that you have.
Sure.
But there's so many other skill sets in life that you can have outside of like, academic skills. And we've seen it over and over where people are really good academically, but then they might falter a little bit once they get outside of that like environment. So
I love that.
So yeah, man.
So let's get to the top two headlines.
Top two headlines.
So one thing that an article that I was reading in Keeping Current Matters talked about what past recessions can tell us about the current recession that we're getting ready to run into. I'll be the one to break the news to you, Real Estate Wire Squad. Honestly, we already been in a recession. They just keep changing the definition of the word recession, so they're saying that we're not in one. Yeah. But either way, if we do fall into a recession or not, this article brings out a couple good points about what recessions mean for home prices, and then also what the past 6 recessions, I think they're looking at, meant for mortgage rates. So in the article, it kind of points out there was 4 of the last 6 recessions that we had the home prices actually went up. In 1980, they went up by 6.1. In 1981, they went up by 3.5. There was only 2 times that the recession actually brought down home prices. One was in 1991, and the other time was in 2008, which everybody remembers. We had like about a 20% drop. And then the other 2 that we had, 2001 and 2020, both were 6% increases. And quite honestly, I don't know if we already had a 20% decrease in the average median sale price already from year over year from this time last year. I think it was a little bit more than 20. So I don't know if this if this chart's going to actually hold through, because it does look like prices are falling. As far as like the average sales price, we're kind of going back, losing some of those historic like equity gains that we had over the past 2 years.
Well, I was around in 2008.
Dang.
I'd been
doing what?
I was a lender.
You were selling real estate?
Yeah.
In 2008?
I was a lender in 2008.
Okay.
I've been in the game since 2003.
OG. Black don't crack.
April 15th would be my 20-year anniversary.
Hey,
Marcus is 67 years old.
I plan on celebrating it too, because 20 years doing anything straight, like
What you gonna do for your celebration?
I don't know.
You gonna stay in the house?
No, I'm gonna do something.
You gonna
Do
go
something
you gonna sleep
big.
on your couch?
I don't know how big it'll be, but like I
You're
mean,
gonna
like
drive your truck
I'm gonna go,
and fire up your grill.
probably something like that.
In the backyard.
I might go to West Virginia and shoot. And I might go get a tree stand and maybe if I can kill a deer or something. I don't know, but yeah. So like in 2008, I remember the crash, right? And there was a period of time where I would submit a loan file and could not get the loan approved for 6 months because all the investors were like I had in my pipeline, there was some that, I could get done like right away. But then there was like some other ones, like the investors that were really just going to be funding the loan. They kept going out of business. So, I mean, you had your Bear Stearns. I mean, it was so many other ones that I can name that just went out of business. And I'm like, yo, this loan's been in process for 30 days. And then we get into underwriting. And then while it's been underwritten, they don't move on it, because usually you can get a response in 48, 72 hours, right? With a financing commitment or a loan commitment. Well, during that period of time, on the backside, the investor is falling apart business-wise. So we got to move it. And then when you move it, you got to start from scratch. So it just kept going. And then you need new documents and these things. Those that have the proper vision can see the long-term play. And I think that's what's happening right now. I think over the last maybe 6 to 9 months, people have seen the rates go up. So there's a holding off for a lot of our buyers. But those that have the right vision, that are investors, they can see them like, oh, this is something that's going to come back up in a little bit. So let me go ahead and get it now. What you think?
What are you telling your buyers?
I mean, I'm telling what I'm telling myself. Like, get ready to get out there in these streets and buy some stuff, to be honest with you. And as long as the money works, especially with like a DSCR loan, which Mr. Mark is going to be talking about in a little bit, I think that's a fantastic way to really start building out assets, because assets make, some people think that rich people buy assets, but it's really assets make you rich. So it's a matter of accumulating assets that are throwing off cash flow and consistently building up that passive investment. So I'm telling my buyers, like, get ready out there. Like, and I think you can buy now. I think you can buy whenever. It's just a matter of you buying the right deal. For
sure. And readiness looks like having your paperwork together, having your credit together, like things like that. So
having your money together.
Straight up. Can't do it without it.
Can't do it without money. And that's the thing. In these times, you're gonna need more money. Like, cash is king in a recession. So you're gonna need some more money.
So what are you thinking about as far as like for the like average, mom and pop? Like, are you telling your clients like to hold off until like the summer, or like I know the FHA just dropped to what 5.8 or something like that?
5.7.
Now is that the 30 year or is that the 15 year?
30 year. I don't have anybody that's like looking at 15 years, because it's such an expensive payment. And like you said, cash is king. So FHA sitting around 5.7, 5.8. Your average 30-year fix sitting at about 1.9. I'm sorry, 6.9, 6.19. My bad, I'm tripping. So I mean, your rates are coming down like we've been saying, and they've been holding steady over the past few weeks.
So do you think we're going to hit the bottom, or do you think keep adjusting my mind. Do you think we hit the bottom as far as like prices are concerned? Do you think it's going to go drop lower?
I can't speak to the pricing.
Because that's what a lot of people are. I think that's what most people that are listening, even people that I've spoken to, that's one of their biggest concerns. Is like, look, I don't want to look like a freaking dummy, right? And my neighbor down the street just got his house for 2%, and I don't want to look like the sucker, quote unquote, that buys his house at 7%, right? Even though my neighbor just got it at 2%, I don't want to look like the idiot holding the bag, and then prices drop even more. God forbid I got to move, and I can't move out for 10 years because prices drop 40%.
Couple things to that for me, like number one, because I'm not a licensed realtor, I love making sure that I stay in my lane and let y'all
Sure.
talk about the housing situation. But the other side of it is you can buy what you can buy, right? Like, and if it's a good time for you and your family, absolutely do it. There's another perspective that says, oh, I bought, dude down the street has 2% and I might be buying at 6%. Well, let's say you're buying the same house. So you could also say that dude ain't doing what I'm doing because he couldn't get the house until it was at 2%. But I'm making the money.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
You know what I'm saying? So you feel a little bit better that you can actually afford the same house at a higher mortgage payment.
Yeah.
So it's just perspective. But I get back to, man, buy when it's the right time for you, and sometimes you got to take a little leap.
Yeah, I mean, and then from a recessionary perspective, I don't know if. The economists are saying that we could see somewhere between a 2% gain or a 2% negative, right?
You mean
across the country for housing prices?
Oh, for housing prices.
For housing prices,
Mm-hmm.
but there are going to be a few markets that are going to be hit really hard, and that's going to throw them off.
Arizona.
I think the markets they mentioned were Phoenix, Arizona. They mentioned San Jose. No. San Jose, California. San Diego, California, and there was one more. Oh, Austin, Texas. So those were the four they said they could potentially see something like a 10 to 15%
drop off.
Drop off, even
the
up to
DC
20%.
But the DC market is always
expecting that. Yeah, they're saying the rest of the markets we should be more or less stable. And you got to remember, man, the year over year, what people are talking about. Sometimes they're like, oh, the prices drop. It's not that the prices drop. It's that the appreciation didn't increase as much. That's different than the price dropping. Right. The people mix those things up.
I think they mix that up and they mix up the median sales price.
Yeah.
Which they're saying, the median sales price is down 20%.
Right.
But that doesn't have anything to do with the overall
all that means that could just mean that a whole bunch of houses sold at $400,000 versus $500,000.
Sure.
So the $400,000 homes were selling at a greater rate than the $500,000 homes, which is actually the case, right? Because more first-time home buyers came out of the woodworks because they're giving out some grant money right now.
Oh, sure. Right.
So grant money's coming out. First-time home buyers are out in the streets right now.
Yeah.
And then the people who are more move-up buyers who got a lower interest rate, some of them are saying, I'm just going to chill out right now because I got a great payment. I don't want that to change.
Right.
So you got to put that in the context.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about the last show. The first-time home buyer got completely smashed over the past 2 years.
Last 2-3 years, they got crushed.
But
now they're back in these streets. They out here yo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yo, I got 2 people locked in. I got a 3%. I got a 3% closing cost credit, and I got them to make repairs upstairs in their attic. And I was like, they agreed to add insulation, and I was like, and I put the offer in for $20,000 less than the list price.
Yep.
Just to see what we would get. I was like, look, let's just take a shot. Let's see what happens. He came back. He gave us 2 options because he had been on the market for 45 days. So it's slim pickings out there. He was like, I'll give it to you at full price at 3%, or I'll give you $10,000 off at 2%. So I was like, well,
you split the difference?
Nah, I didn't split the baby. I took the full price and I gave them the closing cost because I'm like, cash in your pocket today is better than cash in your pocket tomorrow. So I'm like, keep your cash in your pocket. Take the 3%, finance it over 30 years. And they got that added. So a year ago, that would not have happened.
100%, and that's why I think because generally the first time home buyer people are a little bit more cautious.
Yeah.
And so they need more hand holding. They need more repairs. They have less cash in the pocket to do things. So the people with cash got what they wanted, the houses earlier because they were able to pay the cash. People that didn't have cash, they have to finance it. It all works out eventually, though.
Yeah.
So it's just that they come into the game a little bit later. But that is the cost of not having a high income and having a lot of money and being able to buy a lot of house, to be honest with you. And people are like, that's not fair. And I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of a little bit of life, right? Because life isn't fair. And so you're getting what you can get when you can get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then you just build off that.
Yeah.
Because everybody, everybody not getting a $50,000, $100,000 gift from their parents. Everybody not have lawyers and doctors and whatever.
Yeah.
GS-13 income.
Yeah.
It's all different for people.
And I think there's an element of like paying attention to your own situation and not doing it for the likes and the clicks and to be able to talk about it and brag about it. So
I did a thing, y'all.
Yeah, like
focus on yourself.
Like
mind your business.
That is the man. Like a lot of times, like, and I know that I'm 45, but
Damn.
But
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. But
Jinx.
But the thing
Marcus is a Gen X.
I grew up around a lot of older dudes, so like the
You are
computer
older
technology
dude.
sometimes. Shut up. I don't do as well, and but I tend to just kind of get focused and and I think I get it from my dad. Like he would get locked in and just be on the thing, and like he wasn't caring about what everybody else was doing. I'm gonna go buy this, I'm gonna do this, or whatever, and no big deal. And like, like, oh, you pop up at one point and he got a new truck. Well, when you do that? Like, I bought that like a month ago. Oh, and I talked to you just yesterday, or see you every week. So
my dad used to do that. He just pop up. He have a truck. He had a boat. Like, I'm 12 years old.
Yeah.
But I just know something not right about that. Like, should we tell mom about this? It's fine. Your mom said it's okay. Did she, Dad? Did she?
Yeah, so I just try to pay attention to what I'm doing, man, and try to help everybody as I can. And I appreciate about what you're doing and Keith and Harrison, because like what Coalition's doing, like y'all not trying to be like everybody else. Y'all are created. Y'all know who you are. You know what you want to do. Y'all are the what's the tagline? It's being the bridge to the community, but it's
real estate lifestyle.
So I have this theory.
Hold on. Let me say it again. What is it?
Go ahead.
Coalition Properties Group. Our mission statement is to be the bridge to our community for all things real estate, lifestyle, and wealth building.
That's right.
So this is my theory, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I have a theory that you guys originally started with Be the Plug, but then y'all were like, nah, we don't want to be like associate. Like that's like the little theory that I have in my head. Like they
No,
probably
that sounds right. I mean, I'm sure at some
Y'all started
point
with the plug,
we
and
were coming
then
up
y'all-
with something like being a plug, like for real.
And then I was like, let's switch it a little bit.
No. But I think
because I like the bridge. I think the bridge is like
it's
better
more,
visual.
Yeah, I think the bridge is because the plug. Everybody like what's
Yeah, that's what I was like.
that's for the culture.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? So, but being a plug, we believe that part of being a bridge is being a plug.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So you want to put people in positions to win. And sometimes I always say, man, me and Harrison, I've known Harrison, my other partner in Coalition. Shout out the big Brown Beach Production and Fab Five. That was our party.
That's the DJ.
Nah,
DJ moniker?
DJ Beach.
Oh,
but
DJ
no,
Beach.
that was our marketing company, our party promotions
that's
company.
tight.
Back when we were 18 and 19.
What was it called?
Oh, him and another friend, Jerome, but Brown Beach Production, because his last name was Beecher, and Jerome's last name was Brown, and then the Fab Five because it was 5 of us on the other side, and we was the starting 5. So,
Y'all used to rap?
No, we threw parties.
Oh, you were just like promoters.
Yeah.
And y'all just doing the same thing with real estate.
And
now.
we just doing the same. I was telling people like we still pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, we got the
Right.
same roles. Even Harrison got I got the same role I've been had with Harrison for like almost 20 years. So we have the same roles, and I'm like, man, I get to have fun with my people, right? And then sometimes we do real estate.
Yeah.
It just so happened now sometimes we do a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
But like, you
Right,
know,
right.
it's like sometimes we do real estate.
And the parties, listen.
Yeah, the joints be solid. Like
Listen.
It's different.
It is very different.
It's different,
Yeah.
man.
It is
It's an experience. That's what we say, man.
I love
It's an
it.
experience.
I'd be so mad when if I don't have a sitter. Cause like y'all just had Keith's birthday last weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I ain't got no sitter. My wife's out of town. I'd have been there though.
Yeah.
But like even the Christmas party,
Yep.
had the Hollow Knights theme. We couldn't go, and I was like, dang man,
Yeah, you missed out on that one. That was good, man.
that joint was
That
slick.
was good. That was lit.
And a big part of what y'all do is giving back to the community. That is like a high level focus for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, even that week alone when we had the Harlem Nights, we had 2 events where total I think we raised over $40,000 just in a week. So like over the course of 3 years, we facilitated over $1 million worth of charity over 3 years. Like,
And
a lot
y'all-
of people don't know about that, but
yeah,
like, yeah.
and that's great. When I saw that and I heard y'all talking about it, and it's a consistent part of your message. That's when I was saying last week or early this week about the pancreatic efforts that I'm looking at, because I'm like, man, like I have to serve. Like it's not okay just to be able to do loans and talk to realtors and help the people, but you need to do something that stretches you, like that stretches you beyond the limit that you even thought that you could, and you put yourself out there, but it also requires you to be vulnerable in some ways, because the organizations that you're donating to, they have a personal meaning to some of y'all in some sort of way, and then your the group that you built, there's a lot of diversity there. So you got, and none of y'all are over 40. Like who's the oldest? You?
Yeah, me actually. Yeah, I am the oldest.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh yeah, you're an old man.
Old man out here.
And y'all got young folks from New York, with Angelo and Farsana, and they got that swag, and then you got Candace and they're from Howard, right?
Yeah, they went to Howard. Yeah,
and you got the Greek flow, all intertwined in there. So you represent, my favorite,
the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good mix of people. I think we wanted that personally. Like honestly, even like from a gender standpoint, LGBTQ, whatever culture. I feel like we want a hodgepodge. We want a nice mixture of people to be comfortable enough to be with other people who they didn't grow up with or look just like.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good combination of that.
Yes, sir.
So let's get to the second headline.
The DSCR.
The DSCR.
Financing part. DSCR loan.
Drop some knowledge.
You want to take a stab at what DSCR?
I already took my stab before we started recording. I think we're gonna, per the agreement, not gonna say what I thought it was.
Debt service coverage ratio.
Oh.
Debt service coverage ratio.
Debt service coverage ratio.
So
what is that?
I'll make it very simple. The mortgage payment has to be taken care of and covered by the rent. It's an investment product. So you want to buy out in Florida, you want to buy in Georgia or wherever, Savannah on the water, Charleston, whatever. You want to buy an investment property, 20% down. It actually can go up to about $1.5 million. I got a scenario right now, $1.5 million, but they want you to put down like 25 to 30%, because it's a higher loan, higher risk.
It's for investment properties, or is this for personal residence?
Investment. You can't do it as a primary residence. So basically, long and short of it is, if the mortgage payment is, let's say, $10,000 on this investment property,
a year,
$10,000 a month.
Oh, $10,000 a month.
I'm just saying, like if you're looking at like a beach home, vacation home, down in Florida or wherever. If the mortgage is $10,000, that thing needs to be renting for $10,000.
Or has to break even.
As long as the rent covers it. Now, some products, and there's a lot of investors that are doing it, right? And some of them say it needs to be a 1.1% ratio.
That's what I was going to say. Because what about expenses?
Just a little bit. Sometimes it's like 1.1. Sometimes some of them say like 1.5, 1.7, 1.8. It is very risky. That's why the interest rate's high. That's why you got to put down so much money. But if you're buying a property, let's say in Florida, got a guy that's buying in Destin, mortgage payment is going to be $15,000. Okay. It's got to be renting for $15,000, but
what if it's vacant?
Doesn't matter if it's vacant. Now,
so you just give like a comps of the rents in the neighborhood.
So you got to look at the comps, and at first you look at like Zillow and stuff like that and see what it rent for. But then of course we all know that when the appraisal comes back, the appraiser is going to do the rent schedule, and if that rent schedule comes in at $13,000, you got a problem with your loan.
What's
right?
the rent schedule for all of us at the real estate wire
So the rent schedule is
cheap seats?
cheap seats.
What's
What's up, cheap seats? We ain't holler at y'all in a minute.
Us at the top, on the top of the bleachers.
Rent schedule is just simply what it sounds like. The appraiser is going to look at the properties in the area and say, okay, what are these properties renting for?
Okay.
And then they take that average of that number and say, okay, based upon these properties, which are compared to your subject property, then the average rent looks like whatever dollar amount. So if the rent covers the mortgage, let's say by a 1.1% ratio, then yes, this loan can be done. And the debt ratio, let's say the borrower's debt ratio, when you provide W-2s and pay stubs and tax returns or whatever, let's say the debt ratio is at 70%. That loan can't be done because their debt ratio is too high. But in this DSCR loan, the debt ratio doesn't make any difference. That debt ratio could be 80%, 90%. Doesn't matter. They put down 20%. The mortgage is being covered by the rent. Everything is good. Loan can close in 30 days tops and done. And now this person, even though they might be doing the short-term rental Airbnbs, renting it out by the week, those types of things, have a management company taking care of it, they can make some money off of that thing.
You got a pretty. Do you have any Airbnbs in your portfolio, Ryan?
I did. It's gone now.
What happened? You bounced?
Smart.
I bounced. Yeah, I sold it. It was it just Airbnb wasn't for me. Like short-term rentals, it was too short. I need a little bit more stability in my investments because I got a full business I'm running. So trying to run another business that's like a lot, putting a lot of energy towards more than one business is difficult.
So tell everybody what's in your portfolio right now.
Yeah, so right now,
We'll go on to that man business like that.
Yeah, all into it.
Yeah, you
We
went
need your
straight there.
social security number, date of birth,
Golly,
mother's
man,
maiden name. Let's go.
golly.
All of it.
He is a savvy investor.
No,
That's
it's
what I'm
cool. It's
asking.
cool. I'll tell you a little something. I give you a little song.
You know everybody's business, Marcus. You know everybody's credit. You know everybody's mother's maiden name.
I'm the
Don't be trying to get all secretive now.
That's right. But
You
nobody
know
else
everybody,
knows, though.
so-
Nobody
okay.
else knows.
So everybody about to know Ryan. Go ahead. Social security. Start from the
Let's start with social. So basically, just a little background, right? So, man, I bought my first house in 2011, right? I still live in the house today, funny enough. I moved out, moved around a little bit.
Military kid.
Not even that, just like, I had to, I wanted to go to a different part of the city, moved in with my then girl, now wife, that kind of thing. We were in an apartment. It was a much more convenient location, but we ended up moving back because there's just more room. And that was my first house, 2011, and that really started the snowball. And it started a snowball. It saved me a few times when I was knucklehead and I lost a lot of money. I've lost, 150 grand.
Oh yeah.
In real estate. Just being
At one time,
well, over the course of like 12 months, over the course of a year.
Tell us that story.
man pocket.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You on the podcast.
He asked for it. What we got in the green room?
We got something a little stronger for you if you need it.
Yeah. Nah, man. So basically, I was doing the thing with the first house, and I was like, you know what? I'm a genius. This is great. I'm awesome.
That's where you messed up.
You see what I'm saying? I'm a genius. So I'm plus 1,500, right? I went from renting negative 650. I was paying my homeboy $650 a month, right? I buy a house through NACA, rent out all the rooms. Now I'm plus 1,500 a month. Right? That's a big turnaround. Like at 20, I was like 24 maybe. I'm like, I went from 20, so I'm now 24. I think my salary at that time, I was like in IT because that's what I ended up full circle. Instead of being a doctor, I would end up going to technology, like Boogie. So, shout out to Bernie Mac. That was Steve Harvey. Shout out to Steve Harvey.
Oh, yeah, computer school?
Computer school with Boogie. Now, Boogie, don't nothing about you say computer
or
technology. What a great show.
Yeah.
So I did that. Now I'm making a nice little change, like under 6 figures, but like 24. I'm like, I'm cooling. Plus 15. I'm like, I'm like basically 6 figures at that point. Right?
Genius.
So I say, I'm a genius. Right? This is great. I'm a genius. Yeah, the rest of y'all ain't geniuses like me. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be flipping. I'm gonna go flip some houses, right? Because the whole reason I got into real estate is I got a cousin who's in Texas, and he's the first person I saw with spinning rims in real life. But he was
the AutoZone spinners.
No, this is.
I got some of those in my garage.
Nah. He's different.
Oh,
He's different.
The real one.
He's a real one. I mean, I think he just sold his company for like 8 figures, right?
Oh, okay, not bad.
So, a different type of So, anyways, I saw him, and he's basically like, I do real estate. And he was flipping like dozens of homes a month in St. Louis back in the heyday, right? So this is like, I mean, when he told me this, it had to be in the 90s, somewhere like the 90s. I had to be like 12 or something like that. He comes down with a big black Suburban, and he was just tight. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do real estate. Whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna be a doctor, laparoscopic surgeon, and I'm gonna do some real estate. In my mind, that's what I was gonna do. So, anyways, now I get up, I become a genius, right? And then after I become a genius, I was like, let me go flip some houses. First flip, I made like 60.
Okay.
So I'm 20.
Yeah,
I made another 60 piece. What?
Genius.
What? I'm a genius. I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Boy, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Nathan.
Yeah. Did it again. Another 30, 40 piece. Boom. And then I was like, man, I got this. I'm already a pro. Bought another property in Baltimore. New market, everything. I went to Baltimore. Bought 2 properties right beside each other. And then I had like an under budgeted thing, but because I was doing so much. I was just doing too much. That's the thing. So I ended up cutting the roof off, putting another level on, did a 30 by 30 parking pad, had to redo the holding wall, right? The
retaining wall.
The retaining wall. Oh. It was like it was big. Yeah. It was really big. I can't remember how big it was, but it had to be like 30. I mean, it had to be like 60 feet of retaining wall total because it went like all the way around.
Great.
And so I'm 25. You know what I'm saying? Like
smart too.
Yeah, I'm a genius. Sorry, but then I wasn't anymore, right? and then I couldn't get my contractors to finish in Baltimore, so they just take your stuff outside. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I got a hard money loan, so I'm paying $4,000 a month.
Oh my god!
Carrying, I thought it was be done in 6 months. It took me 2 years. You see what I'm saying? So like even that math right there, right? 4 times 12 is what, 48?
Yeah, something like that.
So you do that 2 years, that's like 96, right?
Yeah.
And then that's just that. Then I'm over budget. Right, and then I had to drive back and forth to Baltimore from DC on a whim because somebody did this or somebody did that. Right, so I spent the next 2 years basically just like in hell, like the real one, the word I can use. And I
bleep it out. Don't worry. I put a little bicycle horn on top of it. Don't worry.
No, the real one though. I can use that one.
Yeah.
That one's fine.
The actual place.
You're good. Keep going.
So I did that, and then after that, I sold one. So I cleaned it up a little bit, and then the other one I couldn't sell it. So I ended up having to get a renter in there, refinance. I even had to bring money to the table for the refi because I didn't have enough equity in it and like all this kind of stuff, right? And so after that, I was in a funk after that for real because it was like probably 2015. And after that, man, I just like, all right, bet, rent that out. And then I just went to work, just like making as much money as possible to pay all my debts off. So now I paid off and paid everybody back. Everybody got their money that I promised them, plus the interest that I promised them. So I paid off the hard money lender, of course, on the refi. I paid off all my investors, people that like believed in me. And a lot of them came back again and start investing in my new deals. So like I sold everything and I was like, I'm not doing that no more. I'm done with that. Right?
But you kept going.
I kept going, but I was like, I'm going to go to where my strengths are and not my weaknesses. So I went to where my strengths were. My strengths tend to show when things are more complicated, when things are bigger, I'm probably more valuable. When things are really simple, I'm just a little less valuable, right? Like because I'm a partnership guy, so I needed partnerships and I needed people to bring it all home. So then after that, I was like, all right, what am I gonna do where I can be the most valuable? And that was getting into multifamily. So after that, I was like, okay. Even before I knew that I was gonna get into multifamily, but I was like, man. Let me try this Airbnb again because the house that I was making the money from. Even I was more than plus 1,500 the one I was telling you about because I was still Airbnb too in the basement. So I was even more. So I was an early Airbnb guy because that was 2012 when I was Airbnb. I was Airbnb in 2012. Anybody know about Airbnb?
Yeah, everybody was scared of it.
They didn't even have an app back then, did they?
Nah, I don't think they did actually.
How was your Airbnb in it? Craigslist?
No. It was the Airbnb company, like the actual company. They had just started.
Okay, got it.
They were like a year or two in, so I got on an Airbnb train like really early, right?
Yeah, I always was weirded out about Airbnb, man. I was just.
I had an English basement though, so I had an English basement. I was renting out. They were separate. Like,
that's how I've been weird about sleeping in somebody else's bed.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So I was doing that, and then I sold everything except for the house I stayed in. Like I was like, I'm selling everything. I didn't want no single family homes. Then I was like, all right. I was coaching this brother. Shout out to Joffrey Whiteside. He's based out of like the Hampton Roads area. Fantastic realtor down there, 20 million in volume.
That's the light-skinned boy, right?
Yeah, Navy boy. Yeah, that's my guy. So I used to coach him, right?
Okay.
And I coached him when he was like probably doing like 15 deals or something like that. And then I was like, man, this dude's super talented. He's going to be great. But he's telling about his Airbnb business, right? He's already making 6 figures just from that. And I was like, man, I want what you got.
Yeah.
You got to come and you got to tell people that because they know, but you can do no. The next one that you ain't buying, I want it. So I bought a house down there in Norfolk, Virginia, and it's like 2 blocks from the beach. So I was able to Airbnb it, and then I was come down with my family, hang out, and it was nice to just kind of
you did tell me that you like investing in places where you can like go to the beach
because I like the beach. I like investing in places where I like to go.
Right.
So I do that. So I did that, and then it worked out, but it wasn't that good. But I sold it or whatever, but I liked Norfolk. So after that, I was like, let me buy something else. So I bought a 15 unit down there. I was like, let me do this real quick. So I bought a 15 unit down there. And that was after I had already bought a 68 unit. So I got a 68 unit I was buying. That was my first multifamily purchase. Bought a 68 unit down in Georgia. But then I liked the Norfolk area. I was like, let me get one of them too. Right. So I found a 15 unit and I was like, man, for this one, I'm going to do it a little different. And what I did was that was a little different about it. Only my family bought this property. Like I always bring investors in, right? Everybody that invested in this property,
the 15 unit,
mm-hmm. it was my in-laws, my grandma, my aunts. Like it was only cousins. Like it was only family. So that was, to me, that was my statement piece. Mm-hmm. When people talk about, because people always talk about generational wealth and stuff like that. Yeah.
Working together.
But where is it at?
Right.
So that was my statement piece. Like this is what you can actually do.
Because like think about most people's family. Like no disrespect to my family, but you know what? I will say this. It's because I haven't asked.
You ain't asked, bro. Because you have no clue.
I heard
you got no clue what Granny got in that mattress.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know my grandma had no money.
Right.
And then you find out, and she's like, "Oh, okay." And then they tell them about the other people that was in there. They're like, "Nah, I like this too." Yeah.
So it's probably not the family members that you're thinking about. It's probably somebody else.
Well, you just ask, and then you just make this is what I'm doing. And if they see some level of success that you have, which they did, they was like, I love the beat. So my grandma invested in my 68 unit, and she was getting the money back. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I like this. And she invested in the 15 unit, so she invested in all my deals except for one.
Wow.
Man, listen, I just want to tell you thank you because I'm sitting here like blown away because I'm thinking like it's the matter of the asking. And I hear my mama's voice like you have not because you ask not. I don't know if your mama like that.
Yep.
But my mom
was closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, like she will, and I'm like, yo, like you doing, and I know about the multifamily properties, but in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, you're doing that by yourself, right? So when I talk about it, I think about it, dream about it with my wife. I'm just thinking about like us too. But I'm like, no, like you gotta like ask people, and like if they see a level of success, because they're not thinking like you in most situations, and if they are, you're the one that's closest to being able to execute than anybody else because you're in the business.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you say, yo, I want to, you're the bridge, right? So like. Yo, I'm like, okay. So shout out to whoever listening and watching. Your phone gonna ring in a little bit. So
holla at me, man. I'll,
hey, for sure.
My goal is to make people rich around me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what I told you the other day? Remember I said that?
You did tell me that.
If you're around me, when you come around me, you should make more money. Like 100%. If you're around me and you're around me all the time, you should be making more money.
Yep.
If you're not making more money, you need to be looking at yourself.
Hey, listen,
I'm gonna be doing my job.
yeah, we're gonna make some money.
Yeah.
So let's get to the real estate hot or not. See how we got that coordinated?
Yeah, that was great.
He stole that.
Fantastic.
We stole that from In Living Color.
I didn't. No, because I never grew up watching it. Remember? You PAW.
Yeah.
I grew up way more sheltered than 99.9% of people that wasn't allowed to watch In Living Color.
We could do that. We could.
Yeah,
do
see,
that. We could.
That's what I be trying to tell people. They don't realize we were basically Amish. If you want to put it, I mean, we drove cars.
Black Amish.
We were like the Black
Blackish.
Amish.
Y'all the first Blackish.
We were Blamish.
Hot or not? What we got?
Black Amish. Sorry, Mom, I love you. All right, so
she ain't listening though.
I know she don't be listening,
She
dog.
don't like you.
Probably because she
don't like you. Like
She
that.
don't like me. That's why. My mother doesn't
That's
like
because you hung up on him when she
She
called.
called me
you
the other
happy
day
birthday.
when sang happy birthday, and I hung up on her. And I called her back and started screaming at her and hung up on her again.
okay.
Because I'm a savage. Like
Yeah.
I'm a savage, Mom.
How's that working out?
It's working out great.
Okay, fantastic. I love it. I love that for you.
You like it? I love it.
I love it for you.
What's hot or not, man?
So let's get to some real estate design trends because we always,
Oh,
I like the real estate
Part
design
2.
trends, hot or not. Part 3, Part 5, Part 1,000. So one of the real estate design trends, and I'll tell you what I think, but black and white. Seems like a lot of designers are going to the black and white. What say you, Ryan Butler? Black or white, hot or not?
Oh, I didn't know you was gonna ask me a question.
Yeah, you're Ryan. I'm asking everybody, hot or not?
Black on what though? Like on the outside? I like the black exteriors actually.
Mm,
Like the black paint outside. I think
Yeah.
those could look really cool.
Yeah.
like the black
Especially
houses?
yeah, like the black houses
yeah,
on the
yeah.
outside. Like because a lot of times, you know, when in DC to show that they got a new house, what they do, they paint it white,
Or gray?
gray, like that light palette, right? I like the black on there.
Mm.
On the inside, I do like a black with like a little gold trim,
Black
That's
and
slick.
gold.
the black and gold trim
Mhm.
on like some of the marble or
Mm.
some of the quartz. I think that looks cool. I'm cool with man. I like the black these days. I don't like it all black though.
Yeah.
I need a mix in the colors.
So hot or not?
Hot.
What say you, Marcus Fields?
I think it's hot. Some of the ones that I've seen online, and I'm
Yeah.
into the container home look. So you seen
Hey,
that?
no, man, but
the
that makes
barndominium?
sense, man. You out near West Virginia, you got you know, you got your Bass Pro shops on, bro.
Yeah, you rocking that Bass Pro joint
Hey,
for real.
got
Hey,
the
this-
truck.
Listen, I took my daughter to Cabela's. Y'all know what Cabela's is?
We do not. I don't.
Okay, you know what Bass Pro Shop is? The same thing. So you go down
Yeah.
the highway, you see the big Bass Pro Shop. So they got all the guns and they got the stuffed animals in there. Taya, I took her in there last weekend, and she saw this hat, and she was like, "Daddy, I want that hat." I was like, "You want this hat?" Yeah. Why do you want it? I just like it. It's red and it's got the fish on it. I like it. Put it in the basket. So she hasn't worn it yet. So Taya, I'm rocking your hat today. But it was an adult hat anyway. I love the upscale barndominiums,
Like barn style houses?
yeah, man.
I love barn style houses.
Man,
bro.
listen, like, and then they take these container homes and they stack them and they position them right, and they paint them the dark color, the black and whatnot. I think it looks so good, and you got the wire railings and then the wood accents. I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with the black.
Put a little glass with it too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Marcus about. So I think that I think it's not actually. I'm tired of seeing black and white. I'm ready for color to come back. It was some article I was reading about the decolorization of America. How like all of our like design trends and palettes and things, everything. Even like when you look at like McDonald's, how McDonald's used to have a whole bunch of colors. Now they've got this like neutral beige color.
I haven't noticed.
All the styles now are beige. Even our car colors, like our car colors come in how many
Wait, you
colors?
still go to McDonald's?
I drive to, yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do eat McDonald's. I do. And I go to the play place too, in case you were asking that.
No,
But I answer it.
I was gonna let that slide. That was
No. I go. I'm a good height for it if you're going with the height. By the way, you ain't that much taller than me. You like 5'7", so
First off,
let's not get
I'm
it cracking.
5'9". Second
You ain't
off,
5'9".
I am too.
Every
Second
5'9"
off,
every 5'7" man
I
says
asked
he's
you if
5'9".
you went to eat McDonald's.
Nah, but you was about
went
to go
to the playpen.
You was
and
going
then
to
try to
go to
put
play
yourself
place.
in it, and then try to bring me into
You
it.
were going to play place.
No, I wasn't.
I headed you off at the
I'm
It
gonna
was
say
more
something.
about the fact that you eat McDonald's still.
Son, I could feel a hype joke coming from a mile away.
Yeah, because it was right here.
Because I was born into it.
It was right here. I was getting.
And look what he's doing right now. He said it was right.
Stop.
Oh, shoulder height.
I said right here.
He's kind of messed up.
I was like,
That
it
actually
was
kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. That one.
But you're gonna be alright.
It was right here.
Yeah, you see that?
Up,
You see that?
Y'all, they ain't your friend.
No, he's not my friend. That was. I think I'm gonna have to sit in my quiet place for a little while today.
I was getting ready to launch out, but I was like, let me just hold off. But I was
Because
like,
I go to play place, I like it. The little
Bro,
slide with the
I was gonna ask
with the
you-
ball spars. I
yeah.
like jumping in the ball spars. It's like
Yeah.
fun. In between showings, I'm all about it.
yeah, bro.
I don't mess with the black and white. The color, the decolorization of America. I like color, like red and blues and yellow. Yeah, I miss those colors. We don't see colors no more, man.
So when you do the wallpaper that you were talking about last
Yeah.
episode, we were talking about like putting a wallpaper.
I'm gonna put I want like
texture
a
wallpaper.
cloth.
I do like wallpaper now. I did not like it. I don't like the old school ones.
I love the old school.
Okay.
So it must be a different thing happening
different
with the
people.
wallpaper.
Paisley, I love it. It's dope. Because when you put it next to like a modern vibe, it works, dog. With
It
like a
can work.
mid-century modern furniture,
Yeah, well,
it works.
it can work.
It can work.
I'd have to see it.
I don't like mid-century modern furniture though. So
Oh,
it's
really?
not
What's your style of furniture that you prefer?
really simplistic. I'm more of a I'm a simple person anyway.
Mhm.
So most of my things are like really simple. Not take up a lot of space kind of thing. That's me. That's more me. Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one's coming is textures and fabrics. I think we kind of jumped on that a little bit. I like textures. I like a bunch of different textures. I like floral patterns on like wallpaper. I love it, man. All that old people stuff.
Really?
Yeah, dog. I don't know why it just looks. Maybe it just reminds me of when I grew up or something.
Yeah,
you
like
know what I
your
mean?
grandma's like
Like my
some-
mom's. Yeah.
I feel that there's a couple of this spot Elliott and Company that I went to in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They had it was giving me a lot of inspiration for what my man cave was going to be, and they had these different. You walk through it and it just kind of flow through, and it had different things. And in this one little room, it was probably about as big as this room, but it was just set up and had this green textured wall, and they had an old wooden chair on the side, and it just it reminded me of some of these areas in my grandmother's basement or my great aunt's house and things like that. And so I understand the nostalgic feel that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I do like it. I do like it. So what else is hot or not?
So, you want to do another hot or not?
Go ahead.
That was the last hot I had.
Oh,
Everything's
okay.
not now.
well, okay. No, we keep going.
But I guess y'all not with the floral patterns, though. I guess I'll save
I
that.
I'm not against it. I'm neutral on it.
I'm super visual. I got to see it. I might not like one like the other.
So let's get to the comment section, everybody.
Uh-oh.
So I got a question on TikTok I did a video about 4 units about doing what we were talking about, owner occupied, buy one, and then rent out the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about Baltimore. Guys got in my comments about Baltimore. And, I think to answer the question, how do you do owner occupied? I think we talked about this on another podcast too. But basically, you will buy the unit as a FHA property. You buy one unit and live in the other units.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, FHA will allow you to buy it based, and they will calculate 75% of the current rents that are from that unit towards your yearly income. Yeah.
What is it? So what's the question? Is that asking whether?
So they're asking how. Well, one, because the question was about how do you do that, and then they were asking about Baltimore, because the thing with Baltimore, to get to the point, is Baltimore. You got to look at the numbers, right? Because if your purchase price, if the property doesn't cash flow, and Baltimore has a lot lower rents, so to find one in DC, your starting price is going to probably be somewhere in the 5s, going all the way up to $1 million. 5s are going to be the trash ones. Yeah, the halfway decent ones starting in the 7s, and in the 800s. And then in Baltimore, you can get in lower, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% better just because the purchase price is cheaper, because the rents are lower there.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you seeing as far as like Baltimore inventory versus like DC inventory in the multifamily space?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, it's cheaper, but the question you got to ask yourself is like, what can I do? So, from my perspective, we all know that like the more you borrow, the more risk you have, right? Mm-hmm. So there is risk from borrowing more, but if I can control an asset that's worth $1 million for 40 grand, I'm gonna do that because you only get one FHA
at a time.
At a time, right? So it could be a while before you get another FHA like that. You know what I mean? So I'd rather go do as much as I can up front personally, and then like because the money that you would use for the FHA in DC, that money would probably get you 20% down in Baltimore. So you might as well just use it in DC if that makes sense.
Sure,
because your return is going to be greater in DC than Baltimore anyway. Yeah,
I mean your returns for the money you put in is going to be greater, and then once you pay that property off and you keep it, you got $1 million+ asset, and you only put 40 grand down. I mean, it's tough to beat that. That's just very logical math there.
So what do you think about paying off properties? Do you agree with the philosophy to never pay them off, or do you agree with the philosophy of paying them off, reducing your exposure as much as possible?
Yes.
Pay them off to reduce your exposure as possible?
No, both.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. Yeah, because everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
So some people, I have a friend, they got a big real estate business. I mean, they sell 400 homes a year, right? But it's in a lower cost area in North Carolina. And their whole thing is like, they're middle aged now. They got their kids working in there. Their mom's around. It's like a family business. And they get to take vacations together. They got a little lake house. Everything's cool. And they just like to buy homes cash for like, 60 to 120 grand, right? So even if you financed it, but the concept is like they like paid off real estate because it doesn't add more stress to their life.
Yes.
Right? And then some people who, if you want to grow a bigger empire, you're going to have to use leverage.
Right.
You're going to have to. You don't have a choice unless you already got a bunch of money from somewhere. But leverage is being able to, leverage is leverage. So if you want a bigger empire, you're going to have to use leverage in some way.
So how do you define leverage for the people in the cheap seats?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one because I was thinking about it. It's like, how do you define leverage? It's the ability to lean on someone or something else to help, like, do a job, right? And in this particular job, it's like leveling up. So examples of leverage are easier, which is like I get a loan from Marcus over here, right? I get some money from my grandma over here, right? Things that are not your own, you're leveraging. Line of credit, right? Those are all pieces of leverage that allow you access to capital. In the financial sense, it's allowing you access to capital, even though it's not yours. Right? Yeah. Or even leveraging someone's time, someone's skill set. Yeah. Someone's intellectual. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing less with more. Doing something big with something little cost, right? Taking like
doing
you said,
more with less.
Doing more with less, right? Did I get that? I get that. Yeah, I got that.
It's all good.
Right, going backwards. But right. So you take like you said, the 3.5 and you leverage the other 96.5%, right? But you control the whole asset, but with a small amount of your own capital, and you leverage the bank essentially.
Yeah, and there's been a ton of times where the longer I've gone in my career, I've gotten exposed to more adventurous, if you will, scenarios. Bigger and better. At first it was all first-time buyers. Had to do a lot of credit repair. I was actually working with attorneys, helping with bankruptcy buyouts and things like that. That was actually pretty fun, but it was stressful.
Bankruptcy buyouts?
Bankruptcy buyouts. So people that
own work with the trustee?
Work with the attorney, the trustee. It was really out of the city of Alexandria. I can't remember that attorney's name down in Occoquan, but basically his clients would be in the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. They owned a property, and then they needed to leverage the equity in that property to pay off the bankruptcy and get cash out so they can go on to the next thing. But when I was able to do those refinances, I mean, their credit would explode to because the bankruptcy would be discharged. Whatever debt was remaining would get paid off. They'd have cash and they just move on. Like it was like a learning lesson for them. But over time, I've seen more scenarios that have been super creative, and all the way to where you get to like these multifamily properties, these $1.5 million, $2 million situations down in other states, and they're talking. When you talk about the leveraging of the 75% of the other units, one of the properties that this investor bought, it was generating $24,000. It was generating $24,000 a month, and it had been doing that for like 3 years. So we were able to, although his ratios himself that he bring to the table were too high, you inject 75% of this $24,000. Now he's got a ton more income because the property's already making it, and so like, oh, well, I can use this to help me qualify for this, and then turn around and this dude gets a guarantee from the property management companies where they're going to guarantee him $280,000 year over year through this rental program, and I'm after he pays them, and I'm like, dang. So these are the things as you continue to leverage, like you leverage your experience, you should leverage wisdom. You should, like if you have assets, do it in a very wise way. But I really, really am encouraged by what you're teaching me today, the jewels that you're dropping, and you got a class coming. You already did it, or you got a class coming?
Oh yeah, I got some wealth building classes coming. I have some classes for empire builders, people who are trying to build their business. Mm-hmm. And I have like a millionaires club for people who are trying to build their net worth to be $1 million or more. Mm. So and
the book club.
Yeah, that millionaires the book club basically. Got the millionaires book club. Yeah, we'll read books. We'll track our net worth, because if you don't track it, you don't know where it's at.
Sure.
And that's like the first step. Even finding what your net worth is. Like a lot of people don't really know what it is. So we'll start with that, and then just have like a long, continuous. It's a relationship thing. Mm-hmm. We're gonna be doing this for a while because it's gonna take you a few years to really get there.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure you check it every month. Stay encouraged. Be motivated. All those things.
What's the accountability piece on things like that? Because that you got to be committed.
Yeah,
right?
You have to show up with your net worth chart filled out. So you'll get a spreadsheet with your net worth chart. Mm-hmm. And if you don't show up to these things, you'll get kicked out.
Yep. Just that simple.
It's just really that simple. Yeah, we have an attendance requirement. So you got to attend these things because there's like teaching and training. I'm doing it for free too. So you like my time is
for sure.
Pretty valuable to me. So if I'm doing it for free, I want people showing up.
Now you building you're in the process of building, and you have built a very successful business, married, father. What does Ryan do to unplug from all of this? What's your getaway?
That's a good question right now, man. Traditionally, it's been travel. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a big travel guy. Travel and foodie, man. I'll travel to eat. So even like this year, I'm supposed to go to Alaska. I've visited about 40 states so far, so I got about 10 to go. So I wanted to do that because I've been doing a lot of out of country stuff for a while. Like last year I did London, did Greece, and I did Trinidad, and I was in Trinidad for a month. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like my getaway, calm down, whatever, etc. Chill out. Put on too much weight kind of thing. Put on like 10 pounds, man. I was like, hey, you can't do this no more, bro. You can't go back to Trinidad if you put on 10 pounds like that again. Fresh fish every day, So those are kind of like my things. I listen to music. I like just listening to like little YouTubes, and I'm listening to y'all. I'm up here like, hey, that was funny, man.
So let's get one last question from you, Ryan, before we wrap it up here. Where do you see real estate and the role of real estate agents in the next 20 years?
20 years?
From today. Yeah.
I haven't thought that far because I don't know 20 years where we're going to be. I mean, I think fundamentally you always have to keep up with technology. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't keep up with technology, you'll become antiquated. Back in the day, realtors had books with all the properties listed.
Yeah, listing book.
A listing book. And so if you didn't know a realtor, you didn't know what properties were listed. Mm-hmm. And that means you couldn't see them. Then it became the MLS, and now you can see them online with Redfin and Zillow, etc. So as it's to me, it's more about like not withholding information from people. I think it's doing the opposite. It's giving people information freely and then helping them interpreting it. I've always called myself an advisor because that's fundamentally what I do. Mm-hmm. And everyone will always have an advisor. Advisors don't go out of, like, you'll never run out of business. Right. Now, how you advise or what you're advising on might need to change a little bit, but everyone will always need a real estate advisor, just like a financial advisor, just like they need a tax advisor. Like, those things don't go away.
Love it, brother. Love it. Well, that wraps up our show for today, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a favor. Like this video and then subscribe to our channel because it really helps us with all the YouTube algorithm people. And then hit the notifications so that you guys are the first to know when we drop new content. If you're listening on the podcast, hit the little plus button. We're on all platforms, Spotify, Google, iTunes, we're everywhere. So make sure you subscribe and share our podcast with anybody that you might think is dope. Yep. We really appreciate you guys jumping in. Brian, we really appreciate you for jumping in.
Thank you, man.
Coming and sharing a session with us. My name is Dan Wheeler. You can find me on all platforms, danwheelersaleshomes.com. Where can they find you, Marcus?
On all social platforms at Mortgage Coach Marcus.
For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire.
Don't forget Ryan.
Brian, where can they find you at, brother?
It's all right. You can forget me. Forget me when I'm gone. You can find me at on Instagram at Ryan Butler Hoya. And then you can find me on LinkedIn, Ryan Butler, as well as Facebook.
For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire, we are out.